It was her moment of judgment, the reckoning for a life cut short by the cruel hand of fate. With a swift motion, she dashed out of the hut the salt solution, and in a moment, she poured the liquid upon Folake's unsuspecting head. In the tranquil village of Oluwo, there lived a beautiful maiden named Folake. Folake was a vision of beauty. She was so captivating that even the birds paused their songs to admire her grace. She was the cherished only child of her parents, their pride and joy, the embodiment of their love and hopes for the future. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the land, Folake and her beloved friend Ronke ventured into the bush to gather firewood. Little did they know that this simple task would unravel the threads of their lives. Amidst the rustling leaves and the symphony of nature's whispers, a hunter stalked through the underbrush, his eyes keen and his bow ready. He had been in pursuit of an elusive antelope for hours, his determination blinding him to all else. From a distance, he spotted movement, a figure gliding through the foliage with an otherworldly grace. Without hesitation, he drew his bow, took aim, his heart pounding with the thrill of the hunt. But in his favor, he mistook the form of Folake for that of his quarry. As he fired, the arrow flew through, slicing through the air with deadly precision. And in an instant, everything changed. Folake fell, her life extinguished by the cruel hand of fate. The hunter's shock was palpable as he realized his grave mistake, his horror driving him to flee into the depths of the forest, leaving behind echoes of his panicked footfalls. Ronke's anguished cries pierced the stillness of the evening as she knelt beside her fallen friend, tears streaming down her cheeks like rain. With a loud cry, she raised an alarm, her voice carrying the weight of tragedy as it echoed through the village, summoning help and stirring the villagers to come bear witness to the tragedy that had befallen their beloved Folake. While everyone was mourning, Folake's spirit tore away from its mortal vessel. In an instant, her spirit found itself adrift in a world unknown to the living, a place where time held no dominion and the boundaries between worlds blurred into insignificance. It was a world of ethereal beauty, where the air shimmered with the soft glow of otherworldly light. Yet, amid the serenity of this spectral realm, the anguished cries of her mother and the mournful wails of those she had left behind echoed through the ether. She longed to return to the embrace of her family, to ease their pain and mend the shattered pieces of their hearts. Folake's spirit trembled with anguish as she bore witness to her mother's pain, her soul rending with each sob that tore through the air. She longed to offer solace, to ease the burden that weighed upon her loved ones, but she was powerless in the face of such overwhelming despair as she felt alone and lost. As she turned around, she beheld a procession of souls, their faces turned towards a sacred being. As if summoned by the whispers of destiny itself, a figure materialized before her, radiant with an otherworldly luminescence. It was a spirit, ancient and wise, its presence suffused with a palpable sense of authority. It was her moment of judgment, the reckoning for a life cut short by the cruel hand of fate. Desperation welled within her as she pleaded with the spirits for a second chance at life, for the opportunity to fulfill her destiny and make amends. With a trembling voice and tear-filled eyes, she begged for mercy, her words a fervent prayer in the silence of the spirit realm. With a battered breath, Folake listened as the spirits pronounced her fate, its words echoing with the gravity of cosmic decree. She was to be granted a second chance at life, a precious gift bestowed upon her by the benevolence of the divine. Yet, this gift came with a condition, a caveat that sent shivers down Folake's spine. No one must pour salt water upon your head. No one must recognize you. the spirit decreed, its voice resonating with a solemn finality. It was a cryptic command, steeped in mystery and portent. Yet, Folake knew that the consequences of its violation were dire indeed. As she gazed upon the spirit with a mixture of awe and trepidation, Folake realized that her journey was far from over. With the weight of destiny upon her shoulders, Folake vanished into thin air. The story is about to start. Make sure to stay tuned, not forgetting to subscribe. In the village of Agemo, nestled amidst rivers and forests, 3 young men went fishing by the tranquil banks of the river: Aremu, Olamide, and Tunde. Their fishing lines dancing gracefully upon the mirrored surface of the water, hoping for a bountiful catch to fill their evening meal. As they cast their lines and shared tales of past adventures, the calm serenity of the river was shattered by an unexpected commotion. Ripples spread across the once placid waters, and the air crackled. Bewildered, they exchanged puzzled glances. They strained their eyes to discern the cause of the disturbance, and there, amidst the churning currents, they sighted a figure struggling against the relentless tide, arms flailing in a desperate bid for survival. Without hesitation, Aremu, the most agile of the trio, shed his inhibitions like a cloak and plunged into the water with fearless determination. His strokes were swift and powerful, slicing through the water with the grace of a seasoned swimmer as he swam towards the drowning woman with unwavering resolve. With a surge of strength born of sheer willpower, Aremu reached the struggling figure and pulled her from the clutches of the river's grasp, dragging her limp form to the safety of the riverbank. As he bore her to safety, she lay gasping for breath, her eyes wide with shock and confusion. The men gathered around her, their faces etched with concern and curiosity. Who was this mysterious maiden, and how had she come to be ensnared by the treacherous waters of the river on that fateful day? Her name is Folake. Folake gazed up at the faces that surrounded her, her mind swirling with confusion and fear. She could not fathom how she had come to be in the icy embrace of the river. With gentle hands and soothing words, Aremu guided Folake to his humble abode, where his wife Arolake awaited with open arms and a warm heart. Despite her bewilderment and fear, Folake found solace in their kindness, grateful for the shelter and sustenance they offered her in her hour of need. As days passed, Folake regained her strength. Aremu, captivated by Folake's radiant beauty and mysterious aura, found himself drawn to her with an intensity that he could not explain. His wife, Arolake, grew increasingly wary of the bond that blossomed between her husband and the mysterious maiden. His admiration for Folake's beauty ignited a spark of jealousy within his wife's heart, casting a shadow over their once harmonious union. Arolake urged her husband to send Folake away, but Aremu, blinded by his infatuation, could not bring himself to let her go, weaving a web of excuses to justify her continued stay in their home. Folake's beauty was a marvel to behold, a radiant light that drew admiration and envy in equal measure. Everywhere she went, heads turned and whispers followed in her wake, painting her as a figure of unparalleled grace and allure. But with each word of praise, her pride swelled like a river in flood, and arrogance took root in the fertile soil of her heart. One moonlit night, Arolake, burdened by the weight of her husband's divided affections, sought to reason with Folake, to bridge the chasm that had formed between them. With earnest words and a heavy heart, she offered Folake money and a home of her own, hoping to spare her own marriage from further turmoil. But Folake, consumed by her own vanity, spurned the offer with disdain, dismissing Arolake's kindness like a pebble cast into the depths of the river. As days turned into weeks, Folake's presence became a thorn in Arolake's flesh, a constant reminder of her own diminished status in her husband's eyes. Disrespect blossomed like a poisoned flower, poisoning the air with bitterness and resentment. Folake, emboldened by the adoration of the villagers and the unwavering attention of Aremu, showed no mercy to the woman whose home she had invaded. In her arrogance, Folake ceased to greet Arolake, her contempt a silent dagger that pierced the heart of their household. And as Aremu, blinded by Folake's beguiling beauty, turned his gaze away from his wife, Arolake found herself adrift in a sea of loneliness and betrayal. Their simmering animosity boiled over one fateful day, erupting into a violent clash. The two women fought like cats, scattering the whole house. When Aremu stumbled upon the scene, blinded by his anger, Aremu lashed out without mercy, raining blows upon Arolake's defenseless form until her cries echoed through the village. Arolake, her body bruised and heart broken, vowed to rid her home of the spectre that had torn her family apart. Later that night, with a heavy heart and a resolve as unyielding as the earth itself, Arolake sought counsel from Iyagbonka, the wise old woman whose words carried the weight of centuries past. She poured out her anguish and despair. Iyagbonka listened to Arolake's tale of woe, her eyes piercing through the veil of Arolake's sorrow to the heart of the matter. And when the tale had been spun, Iyagbonka posed a question that sent shivers down Arolake's spine. "Is there anything Folake dislikes?" she asked, her voice a whisper in the stillness of the night. Arolake paused, her mind racing as she searched for an answer amidst the tangled web of memories that clouded her thoughts. And then, like a bolt of lightning illuminating the darkness, it came to her. Folake did not eat salt. With a nod of understanding, the wise old woman revealed the key to unlocking the truth hidden within the shadows. "Mix salt and water," she whispered. "Pour it upon Folake's head, and let the eyes of Aremu bear witness to the revelation that awaits." Though Arolake balked at the notion, she clung to the slender thread of hope that the wise woman's words offered. Armed with newfound resolve, Arolake thanked Iyagbonka and returned to her home, her steps quickening with each heartbeat as she prepared to confront the spectral intruder that had invaded her life and her home. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the village of Agemo, Arolake's heart pounded with a mix of determination and dread. With a plan taking shape in her mind, she set the stage for the final confrontation that will determine the fate of her marriage. As Folake went to fetch firewood, Arolake lured her unsuspecting husband Aremu to the front of their humble abode under the guise of sweeping the house. Little did he know that Arolake's true intention lay not in sweeping the house, but in sweeping away the veil of deception that had clouded their lives for far too long. With trembling hands, she prepared the salt solution, a potent weapon in her battle against the unknown. Moments later, Folake returned. As she approached the hut, Arolake's pulse quickened with anticipation. With a swift motion, she dashed out of the hut, the salt solution held aloft, and in a moment, she poured the liquid upon Folake's unsuspecting head. With a scream of agony, Folake's head vanished, her form flickering like a flame caught in a sudden gust of wind. And then, as if by some unseen force, her very essence dissolved into thin air, leaving nothing but a lingering sense of disbelief in its wake. With a gasp of horror, Aremu watched in disbelief as Folake's form began to waver and fade, her once solid figure dissolving into nothingness before his eyes. It was as if the veil of illusion was lifted from his eyes. The woman he had welcomed into his home was no mortal being, but a spirit bound by secrets and shadows. With tears streaming down his cheeks, he fell to his knees, his heart heavy with remorse and regret. In that moment of reckoning, Aremu reached out to his wife Arolake with a plea for forgiveness. Not everyone gets a second chance. If you ever get one, make sure to use it well. If you enjoyed the story and would like to see more stories of this sort, please consider subscribing, not forgetting to like, share, and drop your thoughts about the story in the comment section. You can also click to watch these videos here. I promise you won't be disappointed. Till we meet again in my next video, remain blessed.